Yes, good morning, 7th class. Today I am going to start a new chapter with you, that is New Kings and Kingdom. Yes, dear students, in this chapter we will discuss about some of the prominent kings and about their kingdoms at that time. And they were the first of all, the map is there which show the ruling dynasty between the different parts of continent between the 7th and the 12th century. So some of the important there, one was a Chahamanas, Palas, Cheras, Cholas, Pandyas, Rashtrakutas. These were the main rulers or the dynasties, those who ruled over India at that time. So, in this era, many of the new dynasties they came up. In the 17th century, the big landlords or the warrior chiefs in different regions of the subcontinent, existing kings were acknowledged them as the subordinate of Samantas, and they were expected to bring the gift for the kings. So they were called as the Samantas, and they bring the gift for the kings or the overlords. And now, why they brought the king? Because in return of gift for the king, in return, they got the right of collecting the revenue from the people. At that time, the revenue given to the king was fixed. For that, the kings they gave the power to the samantas to collect the revenue from the common people, and after giving the a fixed amount to the kings, the samantas they collect the revenue according to their own choice for the common from the common people. So when they collect the revenue according to their own choice, so they didn't bother about any of the natural hazards if it was happened at that time. So they collect revenue and they don't bother anything, bother about the how the people felt after uh, just giving the revenue to the samantas. Means they collect the revenue according to their own choice. So as Samantha gained power and wealth, they declared themselves some more prominent uh, people. They called themselves or given them the title of Mahasamantas or the Mahamandleshwaras. That was the great lord of the circle of a reason, or maybe the sun, the great son of a lord. Sometimes they asserted their independence from their overlords. They get themselves separated from the overlords or the other kings. So, Rashtrakutas in Deccan, they were the subordinate of Chalukyas of Karnataka. In the mid 8th century, Dantidurga, he was a great Chalukya overruler. He performed a ritual called Hirne Garbha. That means why it was performed with the help of the Brahmanas. It was performed for the rebirth. Means uh, by performing this ritual, they were having a belief that this person may took place another birth. Not one birth, it was live for one birth. No, it was live for some more than one birth. So men from enterprising families used their military skills to carve their kingdoms, like Kadamma, Mayorsmar, and the Gurjahara Pratihara and Brahmanas, who gave up their traditional professions and took to arms, successfully established kingdom in Karnataka and Rajasthan. So the Gurjahara they ruled over the Rajasthan area. Now we took a look of the administration of the kingdom. Many of the new kings they have adopted titles of Maharaja Adhiraja, means they just called themselves a great king, upper from the king, a lord king, you can say so. So in such of claims, They often shared their powers with their samantas, means they took the help of the samantas, because at that time samantas, they also have their own armies, which shows their power. And with the help of peasant traders and brahmanas, these maharaja adhirajas, they ruled over the area. And the main resource of income, or you can say the main source of income, was the revenue at that time. The revenue was considered as the rent. Rent means the people, those who are living in that area, they were considered have to give a rent for this purpose. And by giving them rent, they were provided the place for living in that area. So these revenue, it was collected from the traders also. These resources were used to finance the king establishment, means to maintain the army, to make the forts, temples, etc. The functioning for collecting revenue was generally just given to the rights to the some of the influential families, and their positions were hereditary, means no changes were there at that time. Those who have given the or set up the things to for collecting revenue, so that was done at that time. So these all things were included in prashastis, in which all the details were written. Many of the land grants was given to the brahmanas or the warriors also. At that time, those who were the appreciated due to their efforts or works at that time, so the king, they gave them grant of land. And at that time, those the people who are having more land, they will be considered more prominent people at that time. So, as I've told you, the kings, they offered brahmanas rewards, and they all recorded on the copper plates, and the copper plates as it is shown here. So these were the things on which they have written the things about how much land has given to which people, and why they have these grants have been given. So here I am mentioning one of the poem which has been written by a person. So I am just this is the poem. So it's a long Sanskrit poem containing the history of the king who ruled over the Kashmir portion. So it was a author who was named as the Kalhana. So it was he used variety of sources to write these things. He used including inscriptions, documents. All these things have been done by that, and then he composed a poem. Now, warfare for wealth. As we know, कि many of the kingdoms, they were full of wealth at that time, and the kings, they were always interested to get the wealth from the other areas. And at that time, what does the wealth mean? The area which was full of the natural resources like land, water, and definitely the good climatic conditions, because the areas which were good agricultural land, fresh water resources are there, so it was full of wealth, because the farming was the main occupation at that time. So the people, they grow the crops easily because that area was very much fertile, and such as area were called the river valley areas. And one of the area was the Kannauj. Kannauj was a city in Ganga Valley. For centuries, the rulers belonging to Gurjahara, Pratihara, Rashtrakuta, Pala dynasty, they fought for Kannauj, because there were three parties, the Gurjara, Rashtrakutas, and Palas. So this struggle was known as the Triparthi struggle. And they also tried to show their power by making buildings and temples. Yes, dear students, the kings at that time, they were in the habit of making big forts, buildings, or temples. For this purpose, they give a lot of money to the temple to show their power and wealth. At that time, the bigger or the higher temples they made, it shows the big and high wealth and power each and every king was having. So, with the help of temples, they show the other people about their power and money, or demonstrate their power and money. At that time, one of the sultan, that was a Mahmud of Ghazni, he belongs to Afghanistan. So he always came here and carried away a use of capital from India to Ghazni. He just came here, looted the India, and go back to his city Ghazni. He just developed his city Ghazni with the help enormous amount taken by the loot from India. And one of the records show that he uh, looted the south 17 times. 17 times he looted came here and looted the south. Many other kings were there. One of the king was the Chahmanas, later known as the Chauhans. He ruled over the region around Delhi and Ajmer. They also attempted and expanded his control from west to east. They were opposed by the Chalukyas of Gujarat and the Gadawals of western Uttar Pradesh. Chahmana ruler was Prithviraj III, who defeated an Afghan ruler named Sultan Mahmud Ghori, but also lost that empire in 1192. Now next, I think that is all for the day, and tomorrow we will continue from the same page again. By that time you have to read it again and revise it thoroughly. Thank you.